Hey guys, I just wanted to do a quick update before I do my full setup video on this. So this is my mini NAS using a Raspberry Pi 5 and a Penta SATA hat. So you see it has four, actually technically five SATA ports on here. And I have two drives plugged into the SATA ports, and there are two open slots there. And the fifth SATA port is this external SATA port over here, and it's being powered by this barrel jack adapter that goes right into this guy right here, and it also powers the Raspberry Pi. It's recommended to power it from this, and you definitely shouldn't be powering it from this and the Raspberry Pi. So don't power the Raspberry Pi independently. An alternative is you could power it with the Molex. So what I have going on here, you'll notice I have a separate OS disk here. That's because apparently you can't, was not aware of this beforehand. I would still buy it anyways, but you can't boot off of this SATA adapter, this SATA hat. So yeah, you can't boot off of that. What a lot of people do is they boot off of the SD card. So you could put an SD card in the Raspberry Pi, boot off of that with your OS, and that would actually be totally fine so long as you don't, need that additional speed and reliability from your OS disk, which I don't, because I only have one OS disk anyways. I don't care about that. I just care about the data. These are the two data disks. Those I do need to be redundant. They are part of a ZFS Z pool. So that's what I have those there for. So realistically, I could do what a lot of people do and just use an SD card and not have this drive here. But I did, booting off of USB and using an actual an actual disk like this, an actual SSD rather than an SD card is better. And I just felt like it was what I wanted to do. I wanted my NAS to be a little bit better, even if it is a little weird like this and it's not as compact. That's not a real problem for me. I just prefer this way. So the Raspberry Pi 5 does boot off of USB. It has capability to do that by default. I didn't have to upgrade the firmware or anything. So just booting off of USB, booting off of this disk. Can't boot off of these guys. And that's kind of how I wanted to do it. It is a little bit messy having this cable dangle here, and this actually separates apart. So there's a USB-C and USB-A. So this can actually pull apart, which is kind of I don't know. It makes it so it can pull apart a little bit easier than I would like it to. You could accidentally dislodge this, and I don't like that, but it's not going to be. I'm thinking about maybe replacing this cable, although I spent a fair amount of time shopping around for just the right cable. I repurposed this from a previous NAS I used based on a Raspberry Pi 4 that did not have a SATA adapter, which is why I'm transitioning to this new mini NAS. So I might replace this just to make it more compact and nice, but I might just stick with this. In the short term, I'm probably going to stick with this. And what I'm thinking of, the other thing is, another thing before I forget. So this is a two-way mirror. Um, so there's redundancy for my data. I actually have another disk coming in the mail. So I'm gonna have three disks. I know it's kind of overkill, but I just wanted three data disks, and I was gonna have a three-way mirror just because I just wanted to do it, just reduce my chances of having data issues. And of course, I'm gonna be backing up anything that's on here to multiple remote locations. So the other thing I wanted to mention, like these are plugged directly. So I have these plugged directly into the SATA hat. I did, if you watched my unboxing video, I ordered it with these SATA cables here. So these SATA extender cables, you can plug these in here and have the discs like hanging off the side or whatever else. And that's ultimately what I want to do because I want to build a custom case. I'm not purchasing one, and I decided not to 3D print one of the existing cases. Like they have a bunch of models online you can 3D print specifically for this. I'm opting not to do that. I want to build something completely custom by myself, and I'm leaning towards wood. So to do that, I've been spending some time thinking about how I want to secure the top and the bottom. I want this to be like, so if you were to drop it, it's not that likely to be damaged or to damage any of the parts inside. So I'm just kind of thinking about how I want to build it. And I know I kind of have an idea of how I want to keep the bottom in secure, but this top I don't like it being connected here, and I think if it hangs off, I'm gonna make the case go longer this way, and I'm going to I'm gonna build a custom thing out of wood is how I'm kind of envisioning it. So I'm gonna add the three extender cables that I have here onto this, and these drives are going to be over here, and this drive I'm actually thinking about putting this drive inside this bracket here. So my third drive that's in the mail will go here, and the OS disk will go in this fourth slot. It won't fit there now because this cable just is not long enough to bend all the way up to here, so I can't stick it in there now. But once I add these extenders on here, and then I can move this thing over here, then stick this guy right inside this slot. So that's kind of what I have in mind. And before I forget, I do have this thing up and running with ZFS and with Samba. So I'm using this as my share for all my personal documents and stuff. It's not huge mass storage. I still have my big primary NAS where I keep all my video files and stuff. But this is for smaller and more important files like tax documents, medical records, other like important things, personal notes, documents, things like that that I'm working on. I just keep those on here. So yeah, I think next step, I'm going to add those extender cables in here, remove these discs, keep them in the brackets, but remove them, have them over here. I'm going to stick this guy in the bracket. Then when the other disc comes in the mail, add that, make a three-way mirror. And I'm thinking of having like a piece of wood that goes out like this, and these will sort of be bolted or secured onto that. And I don't like, that's kind of problematic with this Ethernet port. It's kind of unfortunate that it isn't on this side. But what I'm thinking of doing is taking this, I'm going to get an extender. I actually purchased, I'm waiting for this to come in the mail. I purchased an RJ45 coupler. So I'm going to put a really short Ethernet cable coming from here, going around to the front. Actually, I think I'm going to have it go like this and just turn like this. So a really short Ethernet cable right here and have the coupler right here. So this would be like the outside of the case. So this can power can plug in here. Ethernet will plug in here from this direction rather than from this direction. And then I'll sort of build the case around that. And it's going to be like a seriously customized case. And I'm kind of thinking, I'm not sure. I know the bottom I want to be wood panel, this side wood paneling, wood paneling, wood paneling on each side. And I think I want this side and this side maybe to be plexiglass or maybe also wood. I have not decided yet. And I kind of feel like I would like to add a fan maybe on both sides. I don't need, it doesn't need cooling. I did opt to go with passive cooling. I did a separate video on that. You should check that out if you haven't seen it, but it's hard to see because of the lighting. But inside there, I have I have 6 heat sinks on the all of the chips on the Raspberry Pi 5. No fan on it. It doesn't need it for the Raspberry Pi 5. It's slightly better, but I really, really don't need it. And I don't need any additional fans, even when I put this in a case, but I'd kind of like to add a fan just for the system as a whole. I'd like to add 2 fans, maybe one on each end, and have them light up with some RGB lights or something. I'm kind of playing with that idea. But yeah, I'll see where it goes. Anyways, this is the working system as of now. I'm happy with it. It works great. I'm actually running Ubuntu on this. Apparently, I could not find a Debian image that supports the Raspberry Pi 5. Maybe I'm just missing something obvious, and I didn't want to come up add the support myself. I wanted something that's going to be stable and works out of the box. Ubuntu supports Raspberry Pi 5 very well. Great support from Ubuntu. So we're going with Ubuntu, and we're not going with Raspberry Pi OS because apparently Ubuntu and Debian both have better ZFS support. It's not a big deal. I used Raspberry Pi OS before, and getting ZFS working on is totally fine, but it's going to be slightly better supported on Ubuntu. And I just opted to go with Ubuntu. My first choice would have been Debian. Second choice is Ubuntu because Ubuntu supports the Raspberry Pi better. It has the best combination of Raspberry Pi support and ZFS support, I think. So this is running Ubuntu and it's working terrifically. So I'm gonna have a separate video showing you how I screwed everything together, put it all together, and it's also going to I'm gonna include like how I partition the discs and like all that other stuff. So yeah, stay tuned for that. That video should be coming out pretty soon. That's about it for today. So remember to hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, hit the bell icon and all that good stuff. But as always, thanks for watching, and we will see you guys on that next video.